Greetings everyone. Today we will be discussing the lore of Kenshi. More specifically, what was going on long before the times we as a player are introduced to this world. What was this world like before it became the desolate wasteland we all know and love? And what was the calamity that befell our moon? Let's start from the beginning, shall we? As mentioned before, Kenshi is not a planet. It is in fact a small moon. Many thousands of years ago, Kenshi was not such a hostile and desolate world. It was ruled by the Empire, simply called as the First Empire. Unlike the empires we see today, inhabiting the dunes and barely scraping enough resources to survive, the First Empire was a technologically advanced civilization of humans. They were so advanced that it is rumored that they had access to such technology as automated factories, satellites, genetic engineering, monstrous war machines known as behemoths, advanced robotics technology, and even space elevators. It is unknown whether this empire was confined only to the moon of Kenshi, but it is really easy to assume that with such technological success, they could have easily colonized other planets or even be themselves one of the colonies of a greater galactic spanning empire. But the good and carefree times would soon come to an end, when an unknown enemy, possibly from outer space, attacked the First Empire. This period in the world of Kenshi is called the War of the Behemoths. The behemoths were giant robotic constructs based off of the skeletons we see today. But these ancient skeletons were so big, they would tower over the skyscrapers and were capable of destruction on such a scale that their owners actually started to fear that they might turn on them one day. Despite the fears of the Empire, however, the behemoths did their duty in protecting it. Despite this war causing death and destruction on apocalyptic scale, the First Empire emerged victorious and were ready to rebuild and reclaim their former glory using technology they already had access to. But the unsettling thought that their giant skeleton war machines might turn on them one day kept lingering within their minds, so they decided to get rid of them. They dug out a massive pit in the ground and ordered all their behemoths to walk in there without telling them why. Whether behemoths were as sentient as normal skeletons is unknown, but it is highly likely. Therefore, it means that humans tricked them into doing that, using their servants' own loyalty against them. After the pit was filled with all the behemoths, the Empire ordered it to be filled up and sealed away by pouring liquid metal in it, destroying the behemoths and sealing them away in a ball of solid metal forever. These dark times are simply known as the Obedience. This, however, did not end the sequence of calamities that the First Empire had to face. Shortly after the events of Obedience started a new era of strife and struggle, known as the Chaos Age. During this time, the Empire and its human inhabitants faced many calamities of both natural and hostile nature, ranging from all sorts of dangerous celestial cataclysms and other natural disasters to worldwide plagues and skeleton rebellions. It is unknown what exactly caused the skeleton uprising, but it is safe to assume that this rebellion was the result of the events of Obedience, where countless behemoths and their smaller brethren were mercilessly buried alive and forgotten. but machines do not forget. The rebellion of skeletons, combined with various plagues and natural disasters, brought the ancient empire to its knees, and humans faced the prospect of total extinction. It is entirely plausible that skeletons, using their vast technological knowledge, have caused the earthquakes, solar flares, and unleashed genetically engineered viruses or bacteria to decimate their oppressor. During this time, the world suffered so much that all vegetation, rivers, lakes, forests were dried, burned out, and grinded to dust, which in turn brought an end to any form of civilization. The lucky humans that survived would not establish a meaningful society for thousands of years. Such was an extent of their annihilation. However, considering the circumstances, it is hard to call them lucky. Many thousands of years passed, but the humankind endured. A previously unknown skeleton called Catlon gathered a significant amount of followers and decided to found a second empire. Even though his kind fought humans thousands of years ago, he was willing to abandon the hatred and allow humans to live together with skeletons on equal rights. In an attempt to restore the civilization and return law and order to the world, Catlon's empire has spent a large amount of resources into finding and reusing the long-lost technology of the ancient empire. Not all humans were ready to integrate into the society of the second empire, however. Some human tribes in the northwestern parts of the continent developed a taste for human flesh and were known as cannibals from then on. The Second Empire committed a large amount of resources to combat these flesh-eating fiends, even forming an army formed entirely out of skeletons to deal with the threat. This army was known as the Hydraulic Knights. But the Second Empire did not live up to its own expectations and started to show signs of a crumbling society. Even though it was formed with good intentions in mind, it became cruel, corrupt, and dictatorial in mere years right after its initial creation. Child prisons, relentless pursuit of pirates, bandits, and other criminals, having their own innocent citizens executed just for a mere suspicion of breaking the law, brought the Second Empire to the brink of collapse. Those who fled were devoured by monstrous mutated creatures or starved to death in an unforgiving wasteland, buried in sands and forgotten forever. Those that stayed had to endure the constant suppression of free will, occasional purges, and appalling living conditions. But as the brittle empire started crumbling, the new power rose from the ashes of human civilization, known as the Holy Nation. A man who called himself the Phoenix united all humans to lead them into the new future and save them from mutants, mechanical oppressors, and famine. Not a lot is known about this man, except that it is said that he was proclaimed as the champion of Okran, the deity on which the religion of the Holy Nation is founded. After he liberated and saved countless humans, he has founded the Holy Nation, which is known as the oldest human civilization that is still alive to this day. When famine and plagues hit the crumbling Second Empire and the Holy Nation started rising to its power, the human citizens revolted against their machine overlords and went on to join the Holy Nation or remain as independent city-states. The remnants of the Second Empire's leadership fled into the Ashlands and remain there to this day. Since the skeletons don't age and don't require sustenance, they remain hidden, biding their time and plotting many schemes unknown to anyone but them. This is all the information known about the ancient period of Kenshi so far. There's also a period in recent history when new races such as Shek and Hivers emerge and new factions are formed. But this will require another video dedicated to it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next videos. If you have any ideas for future episodes or just want to share some feedback, comment down below. All of this will immensely help this channel grow and bring you more content. Goodbye everyone.